Okay, so the live stream I previously just did right now is a test, and I'm currently testing a lot of, you know, games and stuff and whatever. So, what is Vagrus? Vagrus the Riven Realms is a text based heavy narrative RPG game that's set in an apocalyptic setting that's kinda like what if ancient Rome had a big disaster or whatever. Yep, and it's a game where success is by no means guaranteed. You'll probably lose everything several times before getting the hang of leading your traveling company. So the game that I would compare it to the most is most like Desperados 3 or something like that. So we're gonna play the intro, and then after that we'll go through a full. We will. I don't know how to say, but we'll do the first 20 minutes of gameplay. So let's go. Hold on, how do you say it? Comitatus. An armed traveling company, usually carrying cargo and passengers across the wastelands of the continent. It can get involved in a variety of jobs ranging from trading to mercenary work. So we'll be the Comitatus, and we've got to go and literally escort passengers from one end of the world to the other.
The River Realms, they call it. What a fine poetic name for something as rotten and twisted as our land has become. It was not always so.
Nope.
Long ago, the old empire, the noblest and most enduring society created by humankind, spanned almost the entire continent of Zerine, the cradle of man. But after several millennia of progress and incomparable achievements, inevitably, the empire began to fall into stagnation and decadence. Desperately holding on to their privileges and resisting change while trying to avert the collapse of the realm, the emperor and his theocracy took to measures that were worthy of true despots in cruelty. Subjugating weaker realms, enslaving whole nations, strip mining foreign resources, oppressing imperial citizens, war on several fronts, genocide. Eventually, the gods could no longer tolerate such horrors wrought in their name. Foretold by an abundance of divine omens, they descended upon the empire to right its wrongs. Thus, in a chain of dreadful events that became known as the Calamity, they annihilated the empire in a matter of days. The gods then finally saw what they had done in their anger and confusion. It is said that so much grief and shame filled them that they were broken, and they left this reality, never to return. The continent and its inhabitants seemed dead, but at length survivors began to crawl out of their hiding holes and faced a land that no longer welcomed them. Arcane anomalies, the fallout of the Calamity, now riddled the continent, and people realized that they had to share their new home with changed and twisted creatures. Terrible beings entered through the cracks in the tapestry of reality and rose to rule over the natives. In time, these new powers rebuilt the fallen empire in their own image, and the River Realms, now godless and vengeful, reincarnated from the ashes. The inhabitants of the land, such as I, now eke out a living under the crushing rule of the new empire. The continent itself constantly resists our every attempt at building a cozy home for ourselves. As travel is dangerous, many ventures specialize in transferring cargo and passengers over bleak and deadly leagues of land. Others try to take everything of value from said travelers, or attempt to find buried treasures among the ruins of the old empire. The leaders of the endeavors are, some say, the bravest men and women of the River Realms. Such a leader is called a Vagrus.
Alright, so as you can see right now, this is a text-based heavy RPG game, so this will involve me reading quite a lot, and if you can, have the patience to bear it, awesome. So let's go. New game. Nothing besides remain round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare. The lone and level sands stretch far away. Interesting poem, although I have not read this one. And as we wait for
Ah, yes, a Vagrus. What a profession.
I'm quite proud.
Daring and savvy, always watching the horizon.
Yep,
Always looking for an opportunity.
of course.
And of course, for what is best for his comitatus, eh?
It's a tough job.
And you are a Vagrus too, are you not? Many of your kind have I seen in my long life as a vagabond. Care to listen to a story about your exquisite occupation, good master?
Of course.
It is a tale of woe and terror.
Indeed.
And also a tale that is true, as I have seen it with mine own eyes.
Tell us your tale, old man. It'll at least help kill the time. So we'll go through the prologue basically.
Wise you are, good master. My tale is of a Vagrus such as yourself, but one whose fate was cursed and wrought with ill fortune.
That sucks.
It all happened a long time ago. 10 years, maybe more. I was but a passenger, travelling rough roads and forgotten ways with this comitatus, south along the feet of the great mountains of the west.
Let's go. And bear in mind this is early access.
This comitatus I speak of had fallen under hard times. Perhaps it was due to imperial harassment or unfortunate decisions, or simply bad luck. Hierophants, saint of roads, does not always smile on us mere mortals. But however it came to pass, their coin was drying up, and their opportunities seemed few and far between. One of the last chances their Vagrus saw was to travel to the remote town of Scrapheap and spend their remaining funds to stock up on cheap scrap metal. This metal could be sold for great profit over in the east and south. It wasn't a bad plan, truly, but it was not without risks either.
Nope. And this is a world where metal is cheap. So, that's one of the clues I got in from this game already. Hold space. So welcome to Pilgrims of the Wasteland, and this prologue is around 2 hours, I think. It's a standalone story of this game. It serves as an introduction to the setting and also as a tutorial to the game. It behooves you to read the tutorial text and follow the instructions to gain a better understanding of how this game works. The marker icon can be clicked in tutorial windows to show what this section is referring to. It's not a marker, it's a pointer. Via pointer, note that you have to be on the right UI screen for the pointer to appear. Although Vagrus is an open world game due to Pilgrims of the Wasteland being a tutorial, it progresses along a narrow guided path in the beginning and opens up only later, after the core mechanics have been introduced. You can press the hotkey list by pressing F11. So let's just do that quick. Okay, so there's our hotkeys. Okay, load game. Okay, we'll do this later. So, on the campaign map, your comitatus or traveling company. Wait, what? Why don't we call it Augustus? I don't know, Augustus Travels or something. That's our traveling company. Always occupies a node. So what's a node? Well, it doesn't say, but. And moves between nodes to paths. These are the nodes. Moving along paths cost movement points, indicated next to each path. Every in-game day you have, a number of movement points are spent before you need to camp. To move, click on the nearby node and select Move from the radial menu. You can select a node that is farther away. The MP cost of moving there will be calculated and the path highlighted. And I'm simply just reading out the tutorial so that if you're interested in this game, you also have an idea as well. I might as well just, I could go through at least one walkthrough and not even survive it. So we learn everything. Okay, so we'll move there. Tutorial, find us a tutorial. This is our world. What? Okay, this will cost us 3 movement points. Or we'll just move. So let's... Yep, let's go here. So most of the story is presented through interactive events called... Most of the story is presented through interactive text called events. They're pretty much like quests. So if you play Witcher, if you play Assassin's Creed, you get these type of quests and you get dialogue choices which you have to do basically. And then events let you make different choices. You know, I could go through 1, 2, 3, and then those choices I make impact on the rest of the story in this game. That's how it is. So we're going to navigate this event to its end. And please let me know if you want anything improved, anything, any feedback is fine. So let's go with the quest. Having gone ahead of the column with a handful of scouts, you watch from afar as your comitatus slowly trudges along broken terrain, making its way south ponderously among dormant glaciers. I warned you this would be a lot of text, so I'm trying to bring my own immersion into it. All around you, the hills smolder lazily in the perpetual twilight. Are you all right? Yavik's voice resonates with sympathy as he appears next to you. On the ridge, you nod slowly, but do not look at him. Your gaze lost in the distance where ash cloaks the horizon and the towering mountains to the south and west. You turn to your comrades and note his supportive smile. You and Yavik have been traveling the realms together for years now. There is no person in the world who you trust more than you trust him, except perhaps yourself. I know you feel that your hands are tied, but like I said before, you made the right choice by leading us here. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, 1. Time will tell, but I still have my doubts. It's a long shot, and you know it. Or number 2. There wasn't much of a choice. Either this or returning my trading license and hanging myself. Or number 3. It has to work. We cannot fail, not like this. Or 4. Thank you, but the last thing I need right now is a clumsy pep talk, even if it's well meant. So, let's go to 2, shall we? I select 2. Don't forget banditry. We could make serious coin waylaying travelers. And Nomi, if you're watching this, I know you're making a lot of money, in The Witcher. So, yeah. Yavik's smile is mild, but you are used to his sarcastic humor. Unfortunately, for many, this is not a very light-hearted matter. Highwaymen and brigands roam the foreboding wilderness between settlements, and attacks are fairly common. Thus, travelers often band together for protection, which gave rise to the golden age of Comitati and Vagrus. Seriously though, there may have been little choice, and how you go about it matters much more than that, I think. So, yeah, stick to the plan, or let's see how the rest of the crew's holding up. So I want to see what's happening to my crew members. They do have faith in you still, Yavik says. It should not come as a surprise since you have known and traveled with most of them for years and years. Some founding members of the Comitatus you could trust with your life. But you have heard stories before about Vagrus who have been abandoned for less. Times being what they are, Yavik trails off. With Imperials cracking down on us independents more heavily than before. Business is tough. Everyone knows that. And they appreciate your efforts to keep us floating. Our plan ought to give us another chance. The plan. You talked your traveling company into this a few weeks ago. But with each step towards the western mountain, more and more of them started to have doubts. Such is the way of the road, perhaps. Don't know if you can pause the stream. Yeah, I'm not sure of this. Okay. Alright, so I'll pause this and I'll okay. So this is, let's just consider this, at least for now, 1 second.